Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Friday, January the 29th, 2021, 12:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm coming to you live from the VoiceMann Studios in Toronto, Canada, and this is episode 140 of MCRAE Live. Friday the 13th, ladies and gentlemen, more lawsuits, more delays, more of the same as it relates to Friday the 13th. Hard to believe, but it is true. I feel for all you Friday the 13th fans out there today who want Jason Voorhees, the hockey mask killer, back on the big screen. I have my thoughts on that. And so what am I talking about? Well, this article, of course, comes from the source is The Hollywood Reporter. So I am reading this from Bloody Disgusting. This is from bloodydisgusting.com. John Squires from Bloody Disgusting, who wrote this up here. Friday the 13th, new lawsuit from Sean Cunningham goes after WB and Paramount for lost profits. Now, I have my thoughts on this. Let's read this together, and then I'll give you my thoughts on sort of the situation and the lawsuit and everything that's been going on, because the Friday the 13th franchise has been in, well, I mean, lawsuit hell for quite a few years now, which is why you have nothing going on in relation to Friday the 13th. So Friday the 13th, new lawsuit from Sean Cunningham goes after WB, that's Warner Brothers, and Paramount for lost profits. So this is what they have to say. The Friday the 13th franchise has been mired in legal troubles for several years now, with director Sean Cunningham and Friday the 13th, 1980, now we're talking about the original Friday the 13th here, writer Victor Miller, battling it out in court to determine who actually owns the rights to the original slasher classic. Long story short, Miller had been granted the rights to his script, which Cunningham continues to dispute. For the latest on the whole matter, click here to brush up on the case. So you guys can do that, but I'm sure you all already know. Crackling sound for anyone else? Oh, audio's cutting. All right. Thank you for letting me know that. Let's go back to here. Let's go back to here. That should take care of it. That should take care of it. Right? Okay. Let me bring this up. Yeah. I got it. Okay, great. So there was some bad audio from the start? There we go. That took care of it. Appreciate that. Sometimes that happens, folks. Sometimes that happens. Let me see if I can, let me get the article up here. Appreciate that. Let's get the article up here, and I will read it to you from this screen instead of having it up. I'll read it to you from this screen instead of having it up, because for whatever reason, sometimes those things do happen, and of course I can always count on the chat room. Audio, Dave, audio. I don't think enough people are telling him about the audio. Can we have 400 more? I'll read it to you from this screen here, which all right, let's do this. This will be much better indeed. So, the Friday the 13th franchise has been mired in legal troubles for several years now, with director Sean Cunningham and Friday the 13th, 1980, like I said, writer Victor Miller battling it out in court to determine who actually owns the rights to the original slasher classic. Long story short, Miller has been granted the rights to his script, with Cunningham which Cunningham continues to dispute. For the latest on the matter, click here to brush up on the case. Meanwhile, we've learned via the Hollywood Reporter, so a very reliable source, that a whole nother, I love it, Friday the 13th legal battle is underway, with Sean Cunningham now going after Warner Brothers and Paramount. THR reports Friday the 13th producer Sean Cunningham has launched a new lawsuit over net profits from the horror franchise. According to a complaint filed on Thursday in Los Angeles Superior Court, the studios distributing the films have systematically, misaccounted contingent compensation. The report continues, the Friday the 13th franchise has grossed more than $129 million, according to the complaint. But Cunningham says audits revealed there's been improper deductions of fees and bonuses, undervalued licenses, and underreporting of merchandising revenue and pay TV income, and on and on. He also complains that Paramount and Warner have redacted their package license agreements, preventing him from fully understanding the flow of money. He alleges that defendants withheld documents would reveal that the picture's distribution was structured to let me see here. Where'd I go here? It moved on me. Structured to, and where is it? I lost it. Hang on. The thing moved on me. Preventing him from fully understanding what documents withheld. There we are. Was structured to inequitably advance the interest of defendants and favored third parties. Okay, the franchise is already on hold due to the Cunningham-Miller legal battle, which itself may be on hold right now due to the unfortunate passing of a judge involved in the case. And Cunningham's new fight with both Warner Brothers and Paramount throws another wrench in the mix. In the words of Crazy Ralph, the whole franchise seems quite doomed at the moment. I added that extra. More as we learn it. Folks, listen, this is unfortunate news for those of you that are huge Friday the 13th fans. But I look at this, and there's several ways that people look at this kind of thing, right? Obviously, I don't know the real hardcore facts in the case, the objective facts. But I can understand how, if you are emotionally attached to the franchise, and if you are, you're a big Friday the 13th fan, and you've been waiting for Jason Voorhees to be on the screen again. The last time he was on the screen was 2009. That a lot of people, are upset about this because you want people to just let bygones be bygones, to work things out, to work as a team, to get together, to just work it out. Unfortunately, look, there's two sides to this. There's the kumbaya side, which I understand, that a lot of fans who may not know about the industry, who may not have a clue of how, it's a whole different world, folks. When you're dealing with millions of dollars, that's money for most. I was going to say some. For most people, you can't even fathom. Most people will never see $1 million in their life, let alone hundreds of millions of dollars. It's a world that is just so foreign to most people. And yes, we would love, our directors and our writers, or the directors and the writers and the producers and the actors and of our favorite franchises that we absolutely love, to have a kumbaya approach and let's all be friends and let's let bygones be bygones. Let's just work together for the betterment of the franchise and the fans. And sorry, folks, it's show business. And at the end of the day, the fans don't matter. Now, what do I mean by that when I say that? But Dave, what do you mean the fans don't matter? Again, what I mean by that is, at the end of the day, this is business. And if you feel you are owed something, if you feel you are, you are owed something, and there are objective facts to prove your case, you're going to go after it. And I think anybody would. Now, I don't know the hardcore details of the case. I've read bits and pieces of what Miller is saying and what Cunningham is saying in the previous lawsuit. And, there's part of me that's like, this shouldn't be as complicated as it seems. They should be able to work this out. If Sean Cunningham is right, And again, when I say fans don't matter, I don't mean fans don't matter at all. I just mean at the end of the day, it's show business, guys. You know, it's like what I said about, it's like what I said about the Snyder Cut and how everybody was considering it a victory for fandom. And it's like, well, hang on a second here. Hang on a sec. If there was no HBO Max, if there was no streaming service, if there was no way for them to get more money from you in order to watch the Snyder Cut, you think there'd be the Snyder Cut? No. Do you think it's a coincidence that that they gave in and said, okay, we'll do it on the cusp of launching their version of Netflix? It's not a coincidence at all. There's nothing virtuous about their decision. You know, it's not that you guys weren't in their ears and they didn't see an opportunity, but that's what it was. They saw an opportunity. Hey, there's these loud fans over here that have been crying for the Snyder Cut, and now we have an opportunity to make millions of dollars from them, so let's do it. It's not like they said, okay, all right, you know what? We'll gather together the Snyder Cut. We'll release it on YouTube for free because you guys deserve it. You guys deserve it. That's not what fucking happened at all. It's like, okay, we'll do it, but we're going to make you pay for it. Yeah, because it's business. There's nothing virtuous about that decision at all. So is it a win for fandom? Yes, from a certain point of view, I guess. But they're not doing it because they're not doing it because they feel they owe it to you and that you deserve it. It has nothing to do with that. They waited for an opportunity where they can make money, and that's what they're doing. So at the end of the day, yes, fans matter. Fans are important. Without us, they wouldn't be making this kind of money, but it's very easy in this day and age to make money because a lot of fans will just go see anything. See anything, I mean. So again, back to this. It's like, it's not that fans don't matter, but at the end of the day, when you're dealing at this level, you know, and if you feel you are genuinely owed something, like let's say, is this true? Is Sean Cunningham right about this? Right? Now, we don't know information here beyond what was revealed in the Hollywood Reporter, which I read to you from Bloody Disgusting. But despite the fact that you may be on Victor Miller's side, let's say you're on Victor Miller, fuck Sean Cunningham. Sean, come on. Seriously, you're appealing? But is he right? Oh, you launch another lawsuit? Thanks, Sean. But is he right? Did Paramount and Warner Brothers fuck him over in regards to what he's saying? Is he right? I don't know. I don't know anything beyond what I wrote there, and neither does the Hollywood Reporter or Bloody Disgusting. That's why at the end of the article they said, you know, we'll wait for more to come. But if Sean is right and he's owed money, I'd fucking do it too. Yeah. You owe me, buddy. And you were jipping me on shit all these years, and I can prove it to you. It's the law. It's facts. So if Cunningham is right, what are you going to do? Yeah, I think we all would do it. I think we all, if we remove our emotional attachment as fans and wanting to see Jason on the big screen, I get it, totally understand. But put yourself in the position of a business person, right? And you're sitting there and you're thinking, that fucking douche owes me, this company owes me money. Hey, I didn't get my severance package, right? I'm trying to make it a little more relatable. So, you know, it's like, hey, wait. So you mean to tell me that all the time I worked for you, I should have been getting those bonuses and you didn't give me those bonuses? Would you not be like, hang on? Yeah, you would. Yeah, you would. You would. So again, I don't know if Sean Cunningham is owed money from the things that he talked about, right? And the things he talked about in the article were things like, let me just see here again, just to recap. Cunningham says audits, right? Audits, we know what an audit is, revealed there's been improper deductions of fees and bonuses, right? Undervalued licenses, and underreporting of merchandising revenue and pay TV income, and on and on. Now, what that equates to, I don't know. right? I'm sure it equates to something substantial and not, $50. I don't think Sean would be complaining about this if it was $50, although maybe he's that much of a little bitch. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is that I look at this and listen, I'm not as big of a Friday the 13th fan as some of you, but I grew up on Jason. I grew up on Freddy. I grew up on Michael Myers, and I love Friday the 13th too. I mean, I don't like it as much as Elm Street or Michael, but I like the first four really. And I don't mind, 5 or 6 but anything, I'm not a big, I don't like 7. I don't like 8. I don't like 9. I don't like 10. I don't like Freddy versus Jason. And the 2009 remake was, for me, that's it. Just for me. But at the end of the day, is Sean right? That's the question. Is Sean right? And right now, we don't know. We don't know what Warner Brothers or Paramount Pictures' response is going to be and what evidence they have to the contrary, right? Because that's what it's about. It's about presenting their argument because they may look at this and go, Sean, wait a minute, hang on, Sean. 1 second here, buddy. You're reading that wrong. Or you're like, wait a minute, remember the agreement we had in 1980? Whoa, hang on a sec, Sean. Here's the whatever. And then they could come forward with their own argument, which would make me go, yeah, you know what, Sean, dude, like I see what you're saying there, but remember when you signed and you wrote and you agreed to the thing and hey man, that's the way it works. You should have thought of that, 30 years ago. Whatever the case is, right? But right now, if he is correct, despite the fact that we all roll our eyes and go, oh, come on, man, think of the fans. It's not about us. It's not about you. It's not about us. It's not about fans. It's not that they hate fans. This is business. This is the business side of show business. And as much as we would like to think that everybody gets along and there are no egos, and it's not. There is backstabbing and deceit and manipulation and wrongful this and wrongful that all the time. All the time. I mean, let's not forget, this is an industry that Harvey Weinstein was allowed to fester for decades. Think about that. Now, are there good things in Hollywood? Sure. Are there noble people? Sure. Are there people that are honest? Sure. But at the end of the day, when you're dealing with hundreds and billions and billions of dollars in a multi-billion-dollar industry, yeah, the guy that goes to the theater to pay $10 is the last person on their minds. The last person on their minds. You know what I mean? And it's not personal, it's business. And if you feel you are owed something, this is the reality of it. Now, do I wish that Sean, going back to their original lawsuit, do I think Victor Miller probably, it's difficult to say whether Victor or Sean, I can see both sides to the argument. Certainly, I can understand that. And that is a situation where, you see, we as fans sometimes wish that the friendship between people, the nostalgia that we feel for the franchise is this. This is very important, what I'm about to say to you. This is very important, what I'm about to say to you. So listen up and keep this in mind, okay? Now, again, this isn't, all the time, all right? There are filmmakers that have this feeling too, okay? And perspective too, and actors as well. But keep this in mind, what I'm about to say to you now. Yeah, Aaron Click sounded like Trump. Billions and billions. It was kind of the idea. The nostalgia that we feel, the deep-seated nostalgia that we feel for our childhood movies, right? For the things we grew up on, whether it's Star Wars or Indiana Jones or The Goonies or Friday the 13th, Elm Street, Halloween, pick He-Man, whatever it is, G.I. Joe, Transformers, whatever it is. I'm dating myself here. Whatever it is, the nostalgia that we feel for that is usually now not the same nostalgia if at all, that the people that were involved and made that feel, right? It's why we often know so much more about Star Wars than Mark Hamill does, or more about what it was like for him to make the movie than he even knows, because they're not it's a job. It's a job. And sometimes it's a good job and it's a fun job and you have a great memory, right? And you make friends and connections, but they're not living it day after day after day after day after day after day. And, are creating Facebook groups and talking about it. They're not. They're on to the next job. They're on to the next thing, right? The filmmakers and the actors don't necessarily feel the same nostalgia for the properties as we do. It doesn't mean as much to them as it means to us. And it's not because they don't care. It's because it's a job. It's work. It's making a movie. And then they make it and they go on to the next thing. It doesn't mean they don't like it. It doesn't mean they don't feel, a sense of nostalgia. But generally speaking, they don't feel the same deep love and obsession that the fans do. That's the fans' job. It's the fans' job to feel that way. So when these kinds of things come up, we often mistakenly think that the filmmakers should feel the same sense of nostalgia as we do. And if they did, they would do the right thing. They do the right thing for the fans. They do the right thing for the franchise. They do the right thing for the character. That not when you're dealing with millions of dollars, money most of us will never, ever see. You don't even know what it's like. Most people don't know what it's like to wake up in the morning and know that you could have anything you wanted. You could go anywhere you wanted to go. You could buy anything you wanted to buy. Now, you know what I mean when I say that. Obviously, somebody's going to go, well, you can't buy Alaska. You know what I'm saying when I'm saying that, right? It's crazy. It's a different level that these people are working on. They don't care about you. And I don't mean they don't care about you. I mean, they're not thinking about that. They're thinking about, hey, I'm owed this. And maybe they are. Maybe they are owed it. So who am I to say, oh, come on, man, think about me. But I want a Friday the 13th movie. It's like, I don't even know you. Yeah, okay, that's nice, buddy, but I'm owed this fucking money. And I want this fucking money. I don't give a shit what you think. I want this money. And if he actually is owed it, well, who am I to just kind of roll my eyes and go, come on, Sean, come on. I'd be doing the same thing. If I was owed it and I could actually objectively prove it, and it was a lot of money that I was promised that I did not get. Well, who the hell am I to say, fuck, Sean? Come on, man. Because we'd all be doing it. We'd all be doing it. You know it and I know it. We'd all be doing it, folks. If you think of it in relating to something in your own life, you'd be doing it too. 100% you would. Especially if you thought you were supposed to be getting it, and it was said that you were supposed to be getting it, you'd be doing it too. So I look forward to seeing what Paramount and Warner Brothers counter will be, and what sort of information they will bring forward to maybe dispute Sean's new claims. If they don't dispute Sean's new claims, then it might be a relatively easy, win for Sean. I mean, Paramount, Warner Brothers may come. It depends, right? And does spite enter the arena from time to time? Yeah, of course it does. If Warner Brothers and Paramount don't like Sean and they think he's a self-centered prick and they can't fucking stand him and he's a fucking, just a pain in the ass, will they make things difficult for people? Yes, that happens too. When you don't like somebody's personality, when you don't like an individual, and you're working at that level and you have the ability to do that and the room to play and the money to spend and burn and things like that, can you make somebody's life difficult just because you can't fucking stand them? Yes. And does it happen? Of course it does. Of course it does. And to think that everything is, no, of course it does. Of course it happens. I'm not saying that that's what's happening here. I'm just saying that that kind of thing can happen too. Maybe Sean's a fucking dick. I don't know. I've never met the guy. He seems like a nice guy when I watch him in interviews. So does Victor Miller. I don't know. I have no dog in this fight. I just read things and I think to myself, well, if Sean's right, yes, the nostalgic fan is going to read that and be upset and go, oh, come on, man, come on. And I get it. I mean, there's part of me that's going, oh, man, just another delay. Like, it'd be great to see Jason back, right? But I can't get mad at him. I can't get mad at Sean if he's right. And he can prove it. And I would like to think that he wouldn't be stupid enough to make specific accusations like he did, right? In regards to, TV, what did he say again? Because it's not like he was general, right? He wasn't generalizing. He said, but Cunningham says, audits revealed there's been improper deductions of fees and bonuses, undervalued licenses, an underreporting of merchandising revenue, and pay TV income. Well, that's very specific. Now, is there more? It says, and on and on. Is there more? Yeah, there is. That's what on and on means, right? But that's specific. So that should be, if Warner Brothers and Paramount, if it is not true, it should be relatively easy to disprove, right? Because Warner Brothers and Paramount should be able to come back and say, hey, sorry, Sean, but no, you have not missed out on any money, and here's why. So I find it interesting. I find it fascinating. In regards to Friday the 13th, again, I'm somebody that wasn't a big fan of the 2009 remake. I like the way Jason looked. I mean, he looked cool, but it was very Hollywood to me, very polished. And even though that movie is 12 years old now, almost, it still looks, in terms of its production value and its presentation, looks very modern. And I find it interesting, what is the answer to Friday the 13th? Is it to just reboot Friday the 13th again? Some people want that, but then doesn't that just mean you're going to do the 2009 movie over again, but just with a different story, different characters? But it's like the same thing almost. Like, I don't know if the future of Friday the 13th is even on the big screen, and I know that's blasphemous to say for some people, but I don't know. Is it on the big screen? I don't know. I mean, maybe it's on the small screen, I don't know what that would be. I mean, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of, if you do reboot it, going back to the origins of Pamela Voorhees and telling her story and leading into Jason. Now, again, I know that Jason is the brand, right? I mean, obviously the hockey mask is the brand, and you always run the risk of alienating fans, and even the general movie-going audience especially. Fans would probably really... You're more likely to convince fans and get fans to buy into it if you... if you were to go that route, because fans already know the foundation. Fans will already have a vested interest in seeing that. It's the general movie-going audience that knows Friday the 13th is Jason, then Jason's not in it, and they're like, what the fuck's going on? I understand why they likely won't do that, but it's an avenue to take, and you build into Jason so that by like the end of the first movie, or maybe by the end of the first season, right? Maybe if it's a TV show, then you realize that, oh, the next season, Jason, there's something that you see, a little clue or something, and Jason's coming back, or whatever the case is. What Vincent DeSanti is doing with Never Hike Alone and Never Hike in the Snow, I quite enjoy. I think it's a great idea. He's picking up from, I don't know if Vince is watching. I think he's picked up either after 6 or after 7 or maybe after 8. It's in that timeline. I like what he's doing. I like what he's building around it. I like that he's gotten some Friday the 13th alum in there. I just don't know if rebooting it over again is the right thing to do, because how we've done that with 09 and it didn't take. It did well in its opening weekend. Box office dropped off significantly after that. It just wasn't the success that people were hoping it to be. And there was time between 09 and when the lawsuit took place to have done another movie. There was time to do it, but they didn't do it. I don't know what the answer is for Friday the 13th. And I know that people can say, hey, listen, and people do say, look, Friday the 13th is really easy. It's just people in a fucking camp, going to camp, Jason comes in and wreaks havoc. Yes, the formula of the original series was easy, but it's 2021. And I think that formula has a shorter shelf life than Michael Myers. And I think you could get one good movie out of that. But if you're not concentrating on story today, I think the Friday the 13th franchise will, and you know me, I think the story of Michael Myers has a shelf life. I think Freddy is probably the longest out of them, that you could do more with him, I think. That doesn't mean that he doesn't have a shelf life. I think everybody's got a shelf life. But I think Freddy's probably the longest. Michael's probably next. And Michael's shelf life is pretty short because of how his character was created. But I think Jason, in terms of not the character of Jason having a shelf life, because he's supernatural like Freddy, but the plot, you know, I mean, we saw the same plot in part 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. I mean, it's the same thing. It's, you know, I mean, it's a different, obviously they have different things happening, but it's generally the same thing. So I don't think that's going to be something you can have today. And that's why I really appreciate what Vince has done and what he's doing, because, and it doesn't mean that if Vince were to do that for Warner Brothers or Paramount, that it would be hugely successful, or for Netflix and that it would be hugely successful and everybody would love it. It doesn't mean that at all. But he recognizes that, hang on a sec here, we can't just do this over and over again because this is going to go nowhere. Why don't we do this? Let's try this. Let's try this. And the feedback has been really, really good. You know, everybody loved Never Hike Alone. Never Hike Alone. Now, I know Never Hike in the Snow got more mixed reviews from fans, but that was mostly from people who didn't understand that it's episodic, and they thought that it's a terrible ending. What's going on? Well, it's because it's like if this was Netflix, you would be like, oh, cool, what happens next? And you just go on to the next episode. But because this is independent filmmaking, although we shoot this shit professionally, you know, it costs a lot of money. You know, I mean, like to shoot an episode of Stranger Things can cost millions of dollars for just like one episode, you know? So, I mean, you got to think about that kind of stuff, right? It costs a lot of money. And we're doing this with, you know, like $50,000, $60,000. So I like what Vince is doing. And I'm very curious to see the next installment. And because he's got like 3 or 4 more ready to go. And he's told me about the timeline and where it's going to go and what he wants to do. And I'm just like, fuck, that's going to fuck, man. If he's able to, it's amazing. It doesn't mean, again, that something like that would be successful, you know, officially, right? You know, in terms of it being officially released, like on Netflix or something. But I like that he didn't just start, okay, it's Jason going to a camp, and, you know, I like that he's continuing something and he's developing it and pushing the narrative forward and adding new elements into it, and it's fascinating, and new subtext and new mythology. He's creating new mythology in a way. I mean, there's always the roots of Jason that will never change, but by doing what he's done, he's creating these other little things that, you know, are becoming kind of like, oh, interesting. You know, it's fascinating stuff. So I just don't see how you reboot Friday the 13th in cinematic form, make another Friday the 13th without changing it up, you know, without actually making it significantly different than the 2009 movie. Because if it's just going to be the 2009 movie again, and instead of somebody looking for his sister, it's kids going to a camp, and, you know, but it's Jason coming out again. It's just like, but we saw this in 2009. And the 2009 movie, in terms of its production value and presentation, doesn't look old. It doesn't look dated. It doesn't, for me anyway. It doesn't look like a movie that, you know, was shot in the 70s. You know what I mean? It still looks modern. So what are you going to do differently that's going to be better than that? You know, so maybe there's just something. You know, you could always do a sequel to that movie. I know there are diehard fans out there that love the Friday the 13th 2009 movie. I think Cody Leach is one, actually. I think it's his favorite Friday the 13th, actually. And maybe for somebody like Cody, I don't want to speak for him, of course, but maybe for somebody like him, he would like a sequel to that, right? There's a lot of people that I think would like them to do a sequel. I don't think they're going to do a sequel to that. When this thing gets all sorted out, I don't think they are going to do a sequel. But I guess that's an option, I guess. I don't know what the right choice for Friday the 13th is. But what I do know is, without changing the DNA of Friday the 13th and pissing off everybody, I do think there needs to be somewhat of an evolution. Now, that doesn't mean Jason X evolution, Jason in space. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about maturing the film a bit more. Maybe maturing the film a bit more, bringing it into the 21st century. I mean, they've had a couple of them. I guess they've had three actually. X, Freddy vs. Jason, and 09. I guess in the 21st century. But just maturing it a bit more, making it a bit more meat on the bone, not quite as shallow. Something for fans to glom onto. Something for non-Friday the 13th fans to get attached to. I think that's important. And whether that's a series or another movie, I don't know. It's why, like I said, I would love if they went back and did Pamela Voorhees. And we saw the origins. And we saw Pamela Voorhees, and we saw her as the cook. And it becomes like a mystery kind of thing or whatever. And then you lead into maybe that origin story of Pamela Voorhees is sort of it's a remake of the original Friday the 13th from 1980, but in addition to going even further back. So it's like you have like a bit of this origin story, with Pamela Voorhees. And then when you get to the part where she's killing people, you know who it is, right? The characters don't know who it is, but you know who it is. And there's no need to really hide that fact because it's so much common knowledge that she was the killer anyway. So you don't need to remake Friday the 13th in that way because we're going to know she's the killer anyway. So that's why I think it would be cool if you kind of kill two birds with one stone, where you make Friday the 13th. So it's a remake of Friday the 13th, but you see Jason as a boy, you see him bullied, you see him teased, you see Pamela Voorhees in her, mid-20s, early 30s, whatever it is. And we see this, and it's a period piece. So it takes place in maybe the 50s or the 60s, or maybe they'd want to modernize it. Maybe they'd want to bring it into the 80s and modernize the story, in terms of seeing Jason as a boy and Pamela working as a cook at a camp. Maybe that takes place in the 80s as opposed to in the 50s. So they could bring the modern story when they get to Mrs. Voorhees killing people to present day, like 2022 or something. You know what I mean? That's, and I'd be okay with that. I mean, you're modernizing the story and you're not changing the DNA. It's not like it's like what they did with Black Christmas. You see, what Blumhouse did with Black Christmas in 2019, they changed the DNA. They changed the fundamental foundation of the story. There was no Billy, there were no phone calls. It had nothing to do with the creeper in the house. It was some cult. They changed the DNA. And there's other things of why it didn't work, obviously, but that was a mistake. It was a mistake. So I'm not asking Friday the 13th to do that. It's still Friday the 13th, but you're maturing it a bit. You're modernizing. You're bringing it up to speed. You know what I mean? And I think that would be cool. Now, you would always have the general movie-going audience will always have a bit of trouble maybe with something like that. But for me as a Friday the 13th fan, and I admit I'm not a hardcore fan like a lot of you guys out there, but for me as a Friday the 13th fan, I would love to see that because it's different and it's not changing the DNA. It's like, what are we going to do? Just another remake of 09? Come on. Yes. I'd be like, now that interests me. That fascinates me because that's different. Now, whether that's on the big screen, on the silver screen or the small screen, whatever it is, that interests me. And then you end that movie, like I said, or end the season or whatever, with what's her face getting her head cut off or, whatever it is. But maybe we see something that we've never seen before in Friday the 13th, right? Where we see Jason actually watching from the lake. We kind of see like a POV shot, and we see, the mayhem happening on the beach or something, and then maybe we kind of see his eyes a little bit, something, like how cool. And then it's like, oh, oh, can't wait for season 2. That kind of thing. It's earned. It feels earned. You nurture it, right? You develop it. It feels earned that way, you know? And obviously those things are easier to do, you know, in a series that lasts 8 or 10 episodes because you have like 8 to 10 hours. It's like an 8 or 10 hour movie as opposed to like 90 minutes. So it's always easier to do that in a series. But that interests me. That fascinates me. And you're building Jason from the ground up again. It's sort of like what they did with Batman Begins. You know, they went back, they delivered. It was different than the Bruckheimer films. I think that's his name, right? It was different than the Burton films. It wasn't as comic booky. It was mature. It was brought up to speed, and nobody complained. Nobody fucking complained. This isn't Batman. Why? Because it was great. Because it was awesome. And then what happens at the end of Batman Begins? Batman finds, I forget if it was Batman or Commissioner Gordon, finds the Joker card, right? And you're like, oh, you know what's coming. Now imagine that in a Friday the 13th kind of thing. And I'm not saying that, again, you change the DNA of Friday the 13th and you make it this mature. It's a slasher movie. But hopefully you can read between the lines of what I'm trying to say. It's like we can't just be doing the same thing over and over again because that shelf life is very short. Because you're going to get one movie out of that, maybe 2. And then people are going to go, oh, are they doing this again? Okay, kids go back to the camp again. Like it doesn't work now. It doesn't work in 2021. Audiences are more mature. Kids coming up today, they just like, why are we? It's not 1983. You know, when all that was new and fresh and we just wanted to, we'll just go and we'll just, now, if you want to make a Friday the 13th movie for $2 million and just keep doing that, fine. You know, but I think there's more there. I think you can mature the Friday the 13th franchise without getting rid of its DNA, bring something new to the table that's fresh, but still very much Friday the 13th. It's like Batman Begins, right? Like I just said, it was fresh. It was new. It was different, but it was still very much Batman, right? And that's why nobody gave a fuck, because it was still Batman. And I think the same can be done with Friday the 13th. I think the same could be done with A Nightmare on Elm Street. And I think if we want these franchises to come back and not come back and fade out and like fizzle out as quickly as they're back, then there has to be some level of adapting to where we are. And again, I reiterate, that doesn't mean changing the DNA and selling out. I don't mean that, but there's got to be some level of adapting. Or either it's going to be, you know, a one-hit wonder. And whether it's a hit is a whole other thing too. So that's how I feel about it. If you're watching this after the fact, comment below and let me know your thoughts on the Friday the 13th lawsuits. Of course, the new lawsuit that was mentioned today. If you want to know my thoughts on that, you can, you know, and you're watching live, of course, just move the cursor back, the little time thing back, and you can still watch what was streamed prior. And I do give you my thoughts on that. But like I said, I'm waiting for more. Before I roll my eyes and think that Sean S. Cunningham is just being a douche and spiteful and he just hates all fans, you know, and the fans got to stop that. The fans got to realize that they don't, again, we don't feel the same way here. That I want to hear what Paramount and Warner Brothers have to say. Because at the end of the day, if Sean is right, how can I fault him? I can't fault him. I'd want it too. Let's go over to the chat room and see what you guys are saying. Let me see here. I think, yes, a couple of super chats came in. Wesley, the Halloween man. Thank you very much, buddy. Says, hey, Dave, love your show. Can you think of one horror franchise that could do a nice, solid direct sequel in the future, like Halloween 18, that has not been done yet? Well, sequel, I think we've just been talking about it. I think Friday the 13th is one for sure. here. Real Reveal sends in a $2 super chat. Thanks, buddy. Says, do you know when HBO Max will come to Canada? I don't. I have no idea. That's right. We don't have HBO Max here in Canada, but they also don't have HBO Max overseas either. So I think it's just in the continental United States at the moment. I don't know when that will be. Mendel Goodman sends in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Mendel. Says, so are you saying it's okay to make a hyped, bad quality, awful movie just to make billions of dollars like The Last Jedi? I don't understand, Mendel. What did I say that made you think that's what I was saying? Am I saying it's okay to make a hyped, bad quality, awful movie just to make billions of dollars like The Last Jedi? No, no. I'm not sure what you're referring to. But let me see if I can address your question with what I think you're talking about. No, what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, it's all about money. This is show business. Okay? And again, generally, it's not that filmmakers don't care about fans or some aren't really good to their fans, or it's not black and white, okay? But at the end of the day, this is a business and movies have to make money. And there are movies and series that continue to make movies in a series that don't focus on quality. They focus on what the fan wants or what they believe the fan wants based on box office receipts, based on stats, based on, Mendel says, because you say the fans don't matter. They don't matter. They don't matter, Mendel. But read between the lines of what I'm saying, right? Read between the lines of what I'm saying. I say that because I'm being blunt, because I want people to listen. And when I say fans don't matter, people listen, because they're taking it at face value. And then when I say fans don't matter and I got everybody's attention, then I can say, this is what I mean by that. At the end of the day, right, it doesn't matter what you think. They continue to make shitty movies or good movies, or it's about making films and stories that prove to be financially successful. Okay. There's a reason why you can't watch a movie in the theater, hate that movie, go back to the box office and get your money back. There's a reason for that. Because this is about making money. There's no guarantees that you're going to like our product. Do I think filmmakers intentionally go out to make bad movies? No, and that's not what I said. That's not what I said. Of course not. Nobody intentionally goes out to make a bad movie. But there are movies that are made specifically because they follow a formula. And it's a proven formula that makes money. It's a proven formula that makes money. Time and time and time and time again. It's a quick moneymaker for the studio. It's a quick moneymaker for the studio. So, no, I'm not saying that it's okay to make hyped, bad quality, awful movies that make $1 billion. But they do because you go see them. And when I say you, I mean the collective you, not Mendel. I mean you, us, because we go see them. And there's no way of us knowing it's bad until they already have our money. And that's why I've often said that never judge the quality of a movie based on box office receipts. Because box office receipts, generally speaking, do not tell us whether a movie is good or not. They tell us how much the movie made. Because I can't get my money back. Just because a movie makes a lot of money doesn't mean that it was a good movie. It means a lot of people went to see it. But how many of those people that went to see it liked it? And we don't know based on box office because we can't get our money back. If we could get our money back, you would see a different thing, right? If everybody who didn't like Halloween 2018 could return to the box office and ask for their money back, you would see the total box office receipts drop. But that's not a way to do business, because there's no guarantee. There's no fine print that says, we guarantee you're going to like this movie, because it's too subjective. Now, I do believe that you can measure film objectively, as I've always said, but taste is very subjective. Taste is very subjective. So of course they don't guarantee that. So no, Mendel, I'm not saying that fans don't matter at all. I say that bluntly to get people's attention so they understand that this is business, and that Warner Brothers, like I said, the perfect example is they didn't decide to do the Snyder Cut just because of fans, because if that were true, they would have released it to you for free. If you felt like you were owed something, as all of them, and I saw it, I saw all the tweets and the Facebook, you owe us this, we deserve this, the Snyder Cut, you fucked him over, and we fans really believed that they were, not everybody, but there were a lot of fans that believed they were owed the Snyder Cut. No, you're not. You're not owed dick all. And if this was really about the fans winning and victory for the fans to the degree that a lot of fans think it is, it's a small win. It's a small win, right? Because there is an argument to be made that if nobody was crying for the Snyder Cut, even when HBO Max came along, would they have released the Snyder Cut, right? And there's an argument to be made that the answer may have been no, because there was no hoopla about it. So yes, I can say little victory for the fans. But it's not the kind of victory you think it is. Because they only decided to give in when they could make money. So there's nothing virtuous about Warner Brothers' decision to give you the Snyder Cut. Because if it was truly pure and really just about the fans, they would have given it to you for free. They would have said, here you go, free. There you go. But they didn't do it. Of course not. Of course not, right? So I just want people to understand, again, it's not that filmmakers don't care about fans or the studios don't care about fans, but they don't care about us in the ways that we would like to think they do. This is show business. There's millions of dollars. It's always about making money. And they're going to do whatever they can at the end of the day to make money. That's what it is. You know what I mean? I mean, if they really cared, caring about the fans in the ways that we'd like to think they do is not a way to run a business. It's you watch patterns, they care about fans in the sense of they watch patterns and they watch what fans talk about online, what gets the most hits on something, they watch our patterns, it's marketing. It's marketing. And then they give us what the patterns say that we want. Like Jason Blum, and he's right on this, by the way. Often we say, how come they show so much in a trailer, right? How come they show so much in a trailer? Jason Blum, I forget where the article is, I can find it. He said, because statistically, and the patterns show us that that's what the fans want. Now, maybe that's not what you want, and maybe that's not what I want, but he's talking generally speaking, that's why they do it. I'm paraphrasing what he said, but there was some article where I read that and I went, yep, that makes sense. It's done because it proves to be successful. It proves to get asses in the seats. And if they really cared, wouldn't they just stop doing that? So again, I say it bluntly like that just to get people's attention so they understand that this isn't, it's not a love, it's not a 50-50 relationship. I hate to say it, but it's not. That doesn't mean they hate fans. It's business. It's just business. It's like a big corporation. Do they really care about the customer? Does Walmart really care about you? Does Walmart really care about you? Well, I mean, yes, sure. If I have a complaint or a problem, I can go to the manager and I might be able to get a little something free, But do they really care about it? It's that kind of, well, no, this is a business. They want to make money. So they do what they can to make sure that we're satisfied so they can continue to make money off of us. They want to satisfy our wallets, not our nostalgia. Well, if they satisfy our nostalgia, it will inevitably satisfy their wallets. But you know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say. That's why I say it bluntly like that. So again, read between the lines. Try to understand what I mean when I say that. Mendel. Gary Rango says, Dave, was Freddy versus Jason set in the same continuity in the original Friday series? I believe so. I think so. I mean, my Friday the 13th fans can, I don't know. I think so. Crystal Lake Counselor 1977. Stop saying it, Dave. Stop saying it. Buddy, I'm not going to stop saying it. I'm not going to stop saying it. So if you don't like it, then leave. I'm not going to stop saying it. And your life, right? I think COVID's getting to you, man. I think COVID is getting to you. That me saying at the end of the day, for all intents and purposes, fascinating is bothering you this much. Don't let me bother you. What are you doing? Why are you letting me bother you? Why are you letting me and what I say bother you? Don't put so much energy into what I say. You're better than that. Really? It's bothering you? Oh my God, dude, stop. I mean, I'm flattered that you care so much about what I say and that actually my words are affecting you emotionally. They're affecting you so bad that you have to comment and wish I wouldn't stop, or that wish I would stop saying things like, fascinating. At the end of the day, don't let it happen. Don't let it happen. It's okay. It's okay. Or I guess if you want to get drunk, just tune in and I'll do it. Just busting your balls, buddy. Just busting your balls. Mark Williams says, would love to see Harry Manfredini, return to score the next film. Just like Carpenter returned H-18, the score is everything in early Friday films. Yeah, that would be cool. I'm down for that. Totally down for that. I think that would be cool. Yeah, I think that would be cool. I have nothing else to say on that. I think that would be cool. Anthony sends in a 499 super chat, says, Dave, I love your show. You have given Paramount the blueprint to a successful Friday the 13th series. I absolutely love this idea. I love, I really like the idea too. And I think it's a solid idea that fans could get attached to. I don't know. Like I said, guys, I don't know if the movie, the big screen is the future of Jason. It doesn't mean you can't get one on the big screen, but the future of a Friday the 13th series. I don't know. It's just because its formula is so formulaic, and I don't know if you can, but then again, I mean, there are people that do go see the same shit over and over and over again, on the big screen too. So, I mean, I don't know. I just think that there's more, as we know, there is more time, and it's not rocket science. I mean, it's not hard to understand why. It's not a magic. It's not like it's magic. There's more time to develop characters, to create nuance, to develop narratives when you have an opportunity to do it over 8 hours or 10 hours, or let's say they're half-hour episodes, even over 4 hours, over 8 episodes or something. Then you have in 90 minutes or 2 hours on the big screen. There's more time to affect the audience and create stories and get us emotionally attached to characters. So I'm not saying that Friday the 13th would be successful that way, but I think I think it's worth exploring. For me, I think it's worth exploring. Aaron Click says, Jason Blum is only partially correct, though. I venture to guess that there's a big percentage that doesn't like a trailer to show up much. Otherwise, it wouldn't even come up as an issue. Oh, of course. But he's not talking about what people personally think. He's talking about what the box office receipts indicate, right? So even say I'm like, I don't want to fucking see that, but I still go see the movie. Oh, they showed everything in the fucking trailer, but I still go see the movie, right? Like you'll see people, I can't talk today. You'll see people say things like, oh my God, they showed the whole movie in the trailer. Well, there's no sense in watching it now. I'm not going to watch it. And maybe that person doesn't. But box office receipts indicate that the more that is in a trailer, again, this is generally speaking, folks, right? This isn't an exact science. There is evidence that show, despite the fact that sometimes, studios release trailers that show a lot, they still do really successfully. You know what I mean? They still break records and make hundreds of millions or billions of dollars. They still do it. So obviously it's not deterring most people, at least from going, and that's what it's really all about, you see? It's not about, at the end of the day, yes, they hope that you like the movie. Obviously, they hope that you like the movie. But when they have your money, they have your money. They have your money right here. Looking for money. I don't have any money right here. They have your money. Like say this here. Here we go. Skeletor. Hey man, right? This is the money. Okay? They don't have it yet. They make a movie. There you go. Thank you very much. Now I've got it. And you go watch the movie. I've got it now. It's right here. I didn't like the movie. Oh, I'm sorry you didn't like it. We tried our best. I've got the money. It's they've got it. And again, please understand, it's not that they don't care about fans. But they don't care about fans in the ways that fans think they should or think they do. That's what I'm saying. And as soon as you understand that, the decisions that always leave fans going, what the fuck, suddenly become more clear. And you go, I understand why they're doing this. And then, well, that doesn't, they should be doing this, and they should be doing this, and they should be doing this. Why did they show so much in the trailer? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Becomes more, I get it. I get it. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Because I see fans time and time again getting frustrated and rolling their eyes and, oh, what the fuck, over shit that, like, why do they keep doing this? Why do they keep doing this? Well, it's not because they're brain dead. It's because it makes money. You know what I mean? That's why. That's why they keep doing it. And as soon as it doesn't make money, they'll stop doing it. And there's evidence of that too. So that's all I mean by that. That's. I guess I could have said that. I could have just said that, but that is what I mean by that. Let me see. I don't believe there's any more super chats. No. Okay, good. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything, folks. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. You guys are amazing. Darren Sands, my man, says The Burning, Evil Dead, The Faculty, The Hitcher, Child's Play, Halloween H2O, Fright Night, Elm Street 2, Friday 4, 5, 6, Jaws. Are those coming up on the Slaughtered Lamb? Maybe they're coming up on the Slaughtered Lamb. Maybe that's what you mean. I'm not sure. Aaron Click says, you're loving your Skeletor, Dave. I am loving my Skeletor. Are you crazy, man? I fucking love this guy. Hey, man. Fucking love it. It's great. I am a big Skeletor fan. Love Skeletor. Matthew Reed says, I agree. The Pamela origin would be epic and bring it back to the original camp. Nobi Bosco. That's right. Or Noba Bosco. No, I think it's Nobi Bosco, right? Nobi Bosco. Then a sequel with Jason actually at the OG camp. I was there in November. Looks the same. Yeah, I've never been. I've seen photos and video, and I would love to go. It'd be amazing. I understand they do like tours there and at certain times a year. It'd be really, really, really cool. And it's still a camp. Like it's still actually a functional camp to this day, I believe. Dude, I think it would be awesome. I think if they took that idea, again, I think fans are the easier ones to please. But I think when you, I don't know. I'm worried, guys. I'm worried. Now, I know Halloween 2018 was successful, but that also wasn't a remake. That was a sequel. Okay? So I'm worried if this lawsuit gets all wrapped up. I'm worried if they say we're remaking Friday the 13th, that worries me. I'm skeptical. If they say we're doing a sequel to the 2009 movie, Cody Leach will probably be happy. Because I think that, again, I think that's his favorite Friday the 13th. That worries me. A lot of time has gone by. Kind of worries me. If they say they're making a sequel, that's my baseline. That's my baseline. I'm then, my ears are perked because I hear the word sequel, but I'm a little reserved because a sequel to what installment? We're doing a sequel to Jason X. We're doing a sequel to part 8. Part 9. You know? Part 7. 5. 6 is gone. Like, I mean, what are we doing here? Or do they take the Vincent DeSanti approach, which is cool, and just get him to do it, for fuck's sakes? I'll play Crazy Ralph, by the way, if they need like a new guy. Vince, if you want to. Or take the, or do a direct sequel to 4. Now, I know what you're thinking, but what about 6? Well, yes, that is the fan favorite, 6. But they negated Halloween 2, and, you know, fans get up in arms and they get pissed off and, you know, but then they get over it, you know, and if it's a good movie, winning solves everything. And winning, you know what I mean? If it's a good movie, they'll soon forget that 6 doesn't exist in this timeline anymore. Or do they do, like I said, a direct sequel to 4? Pretending that 5 through Freddy through the 09 movie doesn't exist. And you get Corey Feldman back. I know he's a little weird and a little eccentric. But would he do okay? I don't know. But there's that opportunity. I don't know. I'm curious. If I hear the word sequel, I'm like, okay, interesting, but how? How does that fit? That's my next question. But if I hear TV series, then I'm like, ooh, interesting. Gets me excited because I know there's more time to develop shit. But then I'm like, well, where? Like, are they restarting over or what? And if they said they were going to start over and they were going to do what my idea was, oh, I'd be down. 100% I'd be down. I'd be excited for that. A Friday the 13th TV series, you know, Netflix, whatever, where it tells the origins of Pamela Voorhees. So like we see her, you know, as a cook at the camp. She's got the kid, Jason, who's teased and bullied, you know, exactly what I said. And like the first bit is that we see that. And then it kind of, it's like the first Friday the 13th, but we go back further. You know what I mean? And the only thing that, you know, again, like we would already know that she's the killer, and that's fine. That's fine. Because we know now anyway. I mean, Jesus, you know, it's out in pop culture. So that would be cool. That'd be cool. And then you end it. You end the first season. And think of all that time. Like all that time. Like say it's 8 episodes. You have 8 episodes to nurture that story. Develop that story. See the relationship with Jason and his mother. You know what I'm saying? See the teasing. See the bullying. You know? He's getting fucking food chucked in his face. He's getting pushed. Maybe he got beat up. We see that shit. Yes. And it's nurtured, you know? And then by like the 4th episode, maybe, let's say it's 10 episodes. By the 5th episode, you're already like starting into the Friday the 13th, you know, like it's like, you know, you fast forward and shit. Yeah. And then by the end of episode 10, you know that Jason's coming. That's cool to me. I am down, ladies and germs. That's what I think we should do. Yeah, you're all doomed. Doomed. It's got a death curse. Robert P. Thidoff says, Dave, as I watch TV and movies today, car scenes that have fake outside backgrounds from the green screen still look bad to me. Old TV and movies that use cheesy effects seemed better. Your thoughts? It depends on the quality. If it's in a sitcom, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me if it's a sitcom or a show. It depends on the show. If it's a comedic show, it doesn't really bother me because it's almost like you're watching a 3-camera setup that is kind of like a stage play anyway. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. In movies, if it's noticeable in movies, unless it's an older movie, it would bother me. But I haven't noticed that though. I haven't really noticed it being bad or... I don't know, man. I haven't noticed. I have not noticed. I know what you're saying, though, but I haven't noticed it in the way TV. Maybe it's because I don't watch enough. To be fair, maybe it's because I don't watch enough of the same stuff you're talking about. But yes, I can see why it would look bad. But car scenes in the old TV, I think what it could be though too, Robert, is that you expect more. So when you're watching a more modern show and it becomes very apparent that they are against a screen, I forget what the name of it is now. They used to have one at where Bruce worked. We contemplated using it, actually. It's very cool. Maybe it's still there. I don't think it is. And the car, like, you go into a studio, it's like a wraparound screen. It's really amazing. It's cool shit. I think we expect more today. So maybe psychologically for you, when you watch older shows or you watch older movies from, like, the 40s or the 50s or, whatever, old Bond movies or something, and you can tell, but the production value is also old. So it meshes better together. It blends together because you're watching an old movie and an old TV show. Whereas you watch something today with modern production value, if something like that isn't blended well, it stands out like a sore thumb and it makes you go, ugh, because it shouldn't be like that today. Do you know what I mean? Because everything is so state of the art and that shouldn't be happening. So maybe that could be part of the reason why it's more noticeable and cringy for you today as well. That's always possible. Mendel Goodman sends in a $5 super chat and says, speaking of sitcom, do you have a sitcom that you can watch over and over? Oh, great question, Mendel. I have several. I can watch and now again, this is dating myself, and I'm going back to nostalgia because I don't watch a lot of modern sitcoms. There's not a lot anyway. But anyway, I can watch Three's Company over and over again. I can watch Elf, the alien from Melmac. Oh my God, it's hilarious. I love that show as a kid. I can watch Frasier. I love that show. I can watch Frasier over and over again. What else? Even the Cosby Show was great. Yeah, Bill Cosby's a rapist. I know, but we're just talking about the show. We're talking about the show and this character and all that. It was a great show, funny show. Could watch that. I would say so. Like, I don't really watch modern stuff like Modern Family and Parks. I've never seen that. But I don't care about that kind of. It's just weird. I don't watch a lot of modern shit. But definitely those are several that I could watch over and over again and that I don't really get tired of. Family Ties was great in the 80s too. And King of Queens. I love the King of Queens. I could watch the King of Queens over and over again too. Love the writing, and the humor is my kind of humor, with Doug Heffernan. It's just my kind of humor. So could definitely watch that over and over again too. Yeah, those are some. Let me see. Frank Gregor says, for the sexy lawsuit settling MFers in the chat. That's right, Frank. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hope it gets solved. Thank you, Frank, by the way. Let's hope it gets solved as soon as possible. Jeff Hill sends in a $10 super chat. Thank you, Jeff. Says, if they did a Friday the 13th series, something like that, I can't see it going more than 5, maybe 6 seasons when you bring Jason in. That's good. I'm glad. It wouldn't go 5 or 6. Is there anything wrong with that? Is that a bad thing, though? Like, Jeff, is that a bad thing? I can't see it going 5, maybe 6 seasons. But isn't that good, though? You see, this is another example of I wouldn't want it to go, 20 seasons? No, it'd be so much better if it went 5, maybe 6 seasons, and then it ends, and it's like, wow, what a fucking show. What an amazing show, Again, I go back to the old thing that I say all the time. There's nothing wrong with movies or TV shows having stories. There's nothing wrong with most stories should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. That doesn't mean there aren't certain characters that aren't timeless, but I think it's important that we should end stories as we know it. If they want to make Michael Myers live on into the ether with other movies or TV shows after Halloween ends, knock yourself out. But for the love of fucking God, can Halloween Ends please be the end of Michael Myers as we know it? As we know it in relation to the 78 film. Wrap it up. wrap it up, get out well, wrap it up, and then go do whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? But stories need to have beginning, because that's where you have value. There's value in things ending, especially in things ending on top, or not necessarily be on top, but when they haven't gone completely into the shitter. You know what I mean? There's nothing worse than being that, and you guys know what I'm talking about. There's nothing worse than loving a movie, loving a franchise, and then it starts to just fall apart. And they try to keep it going, trying to recapture magic, trying to recapture lightning in a bottle, right? Trying to get this, whatever the case is. They do the best that they can, and they just can't. And now you have like 3 or 4 good ones. Well, no, usually you have like one great one that everybody always talks about, which is usually the first in the series, although Friday the 13th, the exception, because usually it's, the later movies. But usually, generally speaking, it's, the first, right? First or second one. And then it kind of falls off. And then there's like 6 shitty ones that nobody watches, or they just watch to make fun of it. Nobody talks about, and I don't like that, but why do they do that? Because you keep going to see it, because it makes money, despite the fact that the fans say, it makes money, and if it didn't make money, they wouldn't continue to make it, because they would be losing money and they wouldn't be making money. So yeah, no, I'd be okay with 5 or 6 seasons. I would. And as long as it felt like a natural endpoint, and if it still feels strong, like it's really strong, and there's still lots to do. Friday the 13th, I don't know, but there's still lots going on, and it's still successful, and people are still watching it, people still love it. Well, then you continue it. You absolutely continue it. But if the general consensus is, nah, But here's the thing, though, right? If the seasons are bad, let's say it's on Netflix, and there's a general consensus that the seasons are, but millions and millions of people are still tuning in, they'll probably still make a couple more seasons, So, yeah, but I think 5 or 6 seasons is fine, personally. But you sound like you might be somebody that wants this thing to go on and on and on. And there's nothing wrong with that. I always say that to people. There's nothing wrong with wanting things to go on and on and on, just as long as you understand that there's a high probability that you will pass a certain threshold where then you'll just be into garbage territory. That will happen. The probability is so low that you're going to get, 15 seasons of greatness. You know what I mean? Or even The Simpsons, right? Look at The Simpsons. Look at all those diehard Simpsons fans out there. There's many fans go, yeah, really hasn't been that great in 15 years. Look at Family Guy. I'm a big Family Guy fan. But even I can be like, yeah, it probably hasn't been great in a while. Look, it's still funny. It's still funny and it's still entertaining, but it hasn't been real, you know what I'm saying? And that happens with movies and stories too. So just keep that in mind, folks. Just keep that in mind. Eric Chung says, Dave, little off topic, but please tell me that Dylan's new Nightmare Freddy is going to rock the striped lining trench coat. One of the best things of the old New Nightmare redesign. I can neither say yes or no. I am privy to certain information, but obviously with the COVID, with COVID-19 and the coronavirus and everything happening in the U.S. right now, it is a very, yes, Dylan's New Nightmare is still happening, by the way, where I play Freddy Krueger opposite Miko Hughes, and I'm really excited about this. But unfortunately, because of everything that's been going on in the United States with COVID-19, it has been delayed. So now I'm not a producer on the project, so I can only speak from an actor standpoint and what Cecil tells me. So Cecil from The Horror Show, great channel, by the way. You guys should go over there and hang out there too. He's just awesome. He would be the guy to get in touch with. So leave a comment on his channel if you want to know what's going on or what the latest is. And he'd probably tell you exactly what I just told you here. It's still happening. It's still happening. We just need to get to a certain point in the world where we can do that safely. And then people say, well, how come you were able to shoot It's Me, Billy? Well, first of all, Canada, there's 40 million people in this country. There's 320 million people in the US. Most states have the population our country does. So not most actually, but California certainly. So it was not easy, but it was easier to make a film here following the strict COVID-19 protocols and regulations, which were, and we had to do that because we were a professional shoot, that were handed down by the Ministry of Labour of Ontario as it relates to film and television productions. We were able to follow certain things. Things were greenlit. We were able to move ahead, and we were able to do it. But if things were running wild like they were in some states or are in something, it would be nearly impossible. So we were only able to shoot it because things are better here. But yeah, and that's essentially why. So Dylan's New Nightmare is happening. And I can't speak much on the design. I mean, I know certain things, but there's certain things I can't tell you. But that's not an admission. That's just me saying there's certain things I can't tell you. But I've seen the preliminary work of the makeup design, and it's amazing. And this is full-on prosthetic makeup. For those of you that may not know, this isn't silicone mask. Not that there's anything wrong with the silicone masks, because the silicone masks look great. They're like the next best thing. They're amazing. And in the right lighting and darkness, amazing. But we are going full on Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund, sitting in the makeup chair for 4 hours every day, getting prosthetic makeup attached to my face. That's what I will be doing. And the great Nora Hewitt will be doing that. So I've seen some of the preliminary work, and it's like, fuck, you guys are going to, it's insane. It's insane. I can't wait to get into Freddy. You know what I mean? Just lose myself in the character. I think it's going to be so much fun. Let me see. A couple of super chats came in here. I want to get these before the show wraps up. What do we got here? I got the Jeff Hill one. We got Gavin Glass. Gavin Glass, $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Gavin. Says, hey, Dave, I'm from Buffalo. Woo! Buffalo! That's the... Well, it's not actually from it's older, but the Buffalo Sabres theme. I'm a big Buffalo Sabres fan, man. Even though I'm from Toronto and I live in Toronto, and I don't hate the Leafs. You know, there are a lot of people that hate the Leafs, like some people hate the Yankees. But, you know, I like the Leafs, but I've always been a Buffalo Sabres fan. I've been a Buffalo Sabres fan for, well, I'll be 42 this year, so I guess like 36, 37 years. I've been a Buffalo Sabres fan. Never won the Stanley Cup, of course. They were in it in 1975 against the Flyers. I believe it was the Flyers, and lost. They were in it in 99 against Dallas and lost. That still bugs me because Brett Hull's foot was in the crease. Of course, that rule does not apply anymore, but his foot was in the crease. Now, that doesn't mean that the Sabres would have won the Stanley Cup, but it does mean they shouldn't have lost the Stanley Cup in that moment. They may have still lost. I mean, who's to say that if they had called that goal back, the next face-off, Brett Hull or somebody else scores, you know, a perfectly legal goal, right? I mean, that could have happened, right? I don't know how old you are. Maybe I'm saying shit. You're like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But anyway, sports fans that are my age will remember that, and it was disappointing. So Buffalo, yes, big Buffalo fan. Love the hat. I'm a professional wrestler. Very cool. And have been getting into acting. Very awesome. Going to film my first movie this summer. Well, congratulations, Gavin. That is amazing, my man. I wish you the best of luck. Keep us posted on that. Michael Martinez sends in a $10 super chat and just says, hey, everyone. Thank you, Michael, for supporting the channel like that. Really appreciate it. Mendel Goodman says, $5 super chat. Thank you, Mendel. Says, one more question. Do you really think the makers of Halloween 5 actually cared and tried to make it a good film? Yes. Yes. Yes, I do. 100%. I think what made it a bad film was the creative decisions that were made in the writing. I think it was poor creative decisions. But if you had asked Dominic something Gerard, whatever his name is, the director, he thought he was making a good movie. He liked the decisions. He liked those decisions. I think Mustafa Akkad, although he's not exactly the litmus test that you need, because I think he would have had Michael in space because he just wanted to reap the financial benefits of this character that he now owned. Or, I mean, that he, you know, essentially. So he's not really that, but he would have gone on and on and on. And I know that they did have, I know Mustafa and Dominic did have some disagreements. But yes, I think, I mean, look, were there people on the set that maybe thought this is strange? I don't like this. But when you listen to Dominic speak, even as something as crazy as the Gothic Mansion Myers house, he has a reason for it. I don't agree with it I think it's dog shit. And I would have told him that doesn't make sense, but he can articulate why he chose that house. If his response was, I don't fucking know. I don't care. I just wanted a house that looked cool. Well, then, yeah, I'd be like, yeah, he doesn't care. But he can tell you, well, no, we chose this house because, you know, and he goes into it, you know, and it's like, yeah, but that doesn't make any sense. No, I don't believe they set out to make a bad movie. But I think at this point in the game, there were creative choices that were being made. They were hiring the wrong people. Somebody needed to put their foot down. It is what it is, you know, but I don't think they intentionally went out to make a shitty movie. No, I don't believe that. And that doesn't usually happen. There's too much money is at stake. It is too difficult of a process. Filmmaking is so hard. It is so difficult. It is so difficult. It's not to say that there haven't been individuals in the history of cinema that haven't intentionally gone out to botch a project. I'm not saying that. But generally, that's not what happens. It's just bad writing, bad decisions, too many cooks in the kitchen. You know, the studios, you know, the heads, the bureaucracy, it's just, you know, there's a lot of reasons why things end up sucking. Jeff Hill sends in a $5 super chat, says, No, I never thought I want to Karate Kid series. Karate Kid series Astro Kobakai. I changed my mind. Atraso Cobra. Jeff, I'm not quite sure what you're trying to say there. I never thought I wanted the Karate Kid series, but Cobra Kai changed your mind, I think is what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, that's a great example, Jeff. You know, it's true. Sometimes there are things out there that you don't think you want, but if it's done really well, you know, and see, Cobra Kai, though, is something that they've written that show and it's executed beautifully because it walks that fine line that there is enough there for hardcore Karate Kid fans, but there's enough there for somebody like me who knows a little bit about the Karate Kid series, but certainly not enough to get, you know, there's enough there for the average Netflix fan. Like, I mean, there's enough there, right? And walking that fine line can be very difficult. Very difficult. It ain't easy to do, folks. It ain't easy to do. So I'm glad, because I like it too. I think the Cobra Kai, I do think season 4 should be the end. I know it's not good. Apparently it's not going to be the end. They have like 5 or 6 seasons they want to do. But the way the narrative has gone and the way they've set up everything, and you can listen to the Two Dudes and Some Bullshit episode that I did with Tony on Cobra Kai, where we watched the Karate Kid a couple weeks ago. And I talk about this. I feel that it's 4 should be but you know, we'll see what happens, folks. We'll see what happens. All right, folks, that's going to do it for me here on episode, 140 of MCRAE Live. It is amazing. We're up to 140 episodes. I want to thank my moderators, of course, Darren Sands, Frank Riker, and Tabitha Short for doing what you guys do. You guys are amazing. Thank you to all the Super Chat questions that came in today. Thank you to the non-Super Chat questions that came in today. Hey, Friday the 13th, tell me what you think of the lawsuit below. Tell me what you want them to do with a Friday the 13th, what you want them to do with Friday the 13th. I'm somebody that thinks that the big screen, although it's always great to see them on the big screen, I'm skeptical. Doesn't mean it can't be done. Doesn't mean Dave said it can't be done. No, that's not what I said. I just don't want to see the same shit over and over again. And so I'm a little skeptical if they were to say that we're remaking Friday the 13th, that it's just going to be Well, you've heard me say it. I've talked about it this whole fucking show. But comment below and let me know your thoughts on what you think of everything that we talked about here on today's episode. And I will be back, MCRAE Live, of course, next Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'll be back at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday for Two Dudes and Some Bullshit. I think we're up to what, like episode 98 or something of that? Crazy. It's crazy shit, folks. It's crazy shit. Have a great rest of your weekend, a great rest of your Friday. Stay safe out there. And thank you again to everybody who supports the channel, watches this channel, hangs out here all the time. I think you guys are amazing. And remember, we don't always have to agree. What fun would the world be if we did? All right. In the meantime and in between time, cheers.